Hello, welcome back to GP Nail Art. I have another subscriber request. This is part one because this is going to be for the Modelones dip powder kit. I'll do another one in the future for the Virgo and Gem as well. But the Mani on my left hand here is my April birthstone or birthday Mani. I'll put that up in the cards. And I'll be doing, let me back up. I purchased this kit from Amazon, so I'll link that information in the description box below. It's a Modelones kit, and it kind of has a lot of fallish type colors, which, I mean, I love my fall colors, my dark reds and everything, so that's always the season that I look forward to. But I like the way that this kit was packed. It's got about 20 powders in it, a little file. Wasn't super pleased with that brush. I guess that's supposed to be kind of the dust brush. I prefer something that's a little bit more the size of like a blush brush, which is typically what I use. It's got all of the dip powder liquids, your base, activator, and top coat. And even though the jars of powder are kind of small, I was a little bit disappointed just that they only provided the trial size bottles, and they do have brush replacements as well. But I would have wished for the amount of powders that there are in this kit that it would have been full-size bottles of liquid, just because I'm probably going to run out of the liquids before I would ever run out of the amount of powders that are in there. So that's the only... as far as the size of the liquids and everything that I was a little bit disappointed with. But I do like that they all have the protective seal on the inside. I don't always store my powders standing up, so I like to keep that little protective seal so that when I open them up, the powder doesn't go flying all over the place. But I picked these two colors to kind of do, a little bit of a lighter colored Mani, because we're still kind of in the spring and going into summer. And I have my little bottle holder there because these bottles are so small I probably would tip them over if I didn't put them in something. So the bottle on the inside, it does kind of have that wiper insert. It doesn't seem like the liquid is super thick, which I like, because I tend to feel like, I think like the Rossi base powder was like super thick, so it took a really long time to dry, so I didn't really care for that. But I have to say, I mean, the liquids are nice. This Mani was a little bit, it was just kind of that kind of a day where, I don't know, I wasn't really liking how the Mani was coming out, and that's not really anything to do with the liquids. I think the liquids worked perfectly. The base is not too thick. It dries. It dries quicker than the Rossi one did, but it doesn't dry super quick. So that is nice. I think I probably would have had, because there's so much powder in that little jar, I think I probably should have emptied it into a cupcake liner, or maybe poured it over into that jar liner that I have it sitting in, just because it seemed like the powder was really kind of dense. So I think that was giving me a little bit of trouble. So I think I kind of want to try to do the whole Modelones kit again, the powders and the liquids, or even if I don't use the liquids. I do like the liquids, I just wish they were bigger sizes. But the powder seemed a little bit dense, kind of packed in that little jar that it's in, so I kind of feel like that didn't go on as smooth as I would have liked. But I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the powder. I think I probably should have applied it just in a different manner. So that's why I want to kind of try it again and kind of really give it a fair review. I'm also doing this on my on my dominant hand rather, doing this with my non-dominant hand, so that makes things a little bit more difficult sometimes too. But I'm doing my normal dip powder application. I'm doing the first layer on all 5 of my fingers in real time. I'm going to speed things up for the next layer, so I am doing the standard 3 layers, and then I'll cap and clear. So nothing too out of the ordinary there. I have to say, I would have also liked if there was maybe a separate paper in the kit as well that gave the dip powder instructions. I forgot to kind of look at that while I had the dip powder kit out at the beginning of the video, but I believe it is actually on the box. And it's a standard dip powder application. Apply the base coat, dip in the powder, activate, file, activate again, and then your top coat. So it's pretty standard as far as how I would apply any kind of dip powder, so nothing out of the ordinary there. So I will go ahead and let you watch, and if I have anything else that I want to say, I'll pop back in. Oh, actually, right there, I did kind of accidentally drag the metal toothpick there that I have kind of across my nail a little bit. The nice thing about dip powder, though, I kind of patted it into place, dipped it in again, and you can't even hardly tell that I did anything. And then this is the first layer as well, so, as long as I'm careful on the next layers, the next dip powder layers that I do on that nail will kind of all cover that up, and everything will get smoothed out during the filing. Okay, so I forgot to mention also at the beginning when I was showing the colors, typically in a review or something like this, I like to try to do a flat or cream color, like the mauve color that I picked, as well as some sort of glitter, shimmer, chunky glitter color as well, so I can kind of see how both of them perform. And sometimes you do apply them a little bit different as well, so I kind of like to try both. So that's why I also picked out this gold color from the kit. I kind of felt like this one, because maybe because it's the glitter, it wasn't kind of packed so densely, so that one kind of went on a little bit more smooth than the cream color did. And I mean, the color, once you kind of see it with the top coat and everything, was so pretty. So I do really like the glitters. I'm just going to kind of, I probably didn't really have to do this, but I'm just using my little glitter press to make sure everything is kind of laying down as flat as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 layers of that, and then we'll move on to capping and clear. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the activator. So I'm going to apply this to all of my nails, and the instructions, I believe, do say to let it sit for about 2 minutes before you move on to filing. And I was just cleaning off some more of that clear powder that was all over my fingers. I get a little messy with that. But I just wanted to clean that all off before I apply the activator. But yep, nothing too out of the ordinary here. I'll speed this up a little bit. And then I am going to file on camera with my e-file for this one as well. So we'll get into that next. Okay, so I'm using my a bit that's kind of got a cone type shape, so I can get into the sidewalls a little bit and the cuticle area to kind of clean that up as much as possible. And when you kind of see me move my hand kind of off screen, at that point I'm really just either adjusting the speed or the direction to make filing go a little bit easier. It's usually the speed. I kind of have to, adjust that because it's either going too fast or maybe a little bit too slow. I am going to speed this up just a bit, and then I'm going to switch the bit that I'm using as well. So we'll get into that in a moment. Oh, but before I go, I didn't really have any problem filing anything. Overall, as far as the surface of my nails, that was pretty smooth. I think I had a little bit of problem with the application, but like I said, I think that was more so because I was doing the mani on my dominant hand, so my cuticle lines weren't weren't super nice, and you'll probably see that in the thumbnail picture when I kind of show you a little bit more close up when I finish with the top coat. So that's not really the fault of the liquids or the powders. I think that was just more my application, and like I said, kind of doing this on my dominant hand instead of the other way around. I think it would have been a little bit better if I did the mani with my dominant hand instead of on it. If that makes any kind of sense. So I'm just switching to a cylinder, like a smoothing bit here, so I can kind of file out and remove any bumps that are on like the surface of my nail. So like I said, there wasn't a whole lot that I had to do with the filing on this mani, so they did file well. I didn't really have any problem with that at all. Okay, so after filing and buffing or shaping or doing anything that you need to do, you do want to go in with a second layer of the activator, or second application of the activator. This is what is going to help your top coat be nice and shiny. So not sure about all of the science behind that, but that is kind of how it works. If you find that you don't do the second application of activator, your top coat can kind of look dull, so that could be why. So I'll typically let the second layer of activator set for about a minute or so, and then I do go in with a cotton round and clean with some rubbing alcohol to make sure that there's not any activator kind of left over, because that can contaminate your top coat liquid. So you do want to be careful with that. So I initially just picked up the wrong bottle, but we are using the step 3, so that's going to be your dip powder top coat. In order to clean off the activator, you can also use a paper towel or a lint-free wipe, so whatever it is that you have handy. And typically, I'll zoom in on a couple parts for this, but typically for the first layer of your top coat for dip powder application, you want to go in just 2 or 3 swipes across your nail. You don't want to keep going back over it. Your second layer can be more thorough, and you do want to, I don't always do this, I sometimes forget, but you do want to try to make sure you wipe your brush on a clean paper towel before you put it back in the bottle, so that your brush doesn't harden, because if there's any activator left on your nail, that can cause the brush to harden. So just be careful of that. As soon as you're done with your first layer, you can go in with your second layer. And this one you can be a little bit more thorough, and really make sure that you get all of your edges, your free edge, any spots that you may have missed. But this is the layer that's going to make everything nice and shiny, so you don't want to do any more than the 2 layers for the dip powder process as well. But look at that glitter too, isn't that pretty? I think that's a really pretty glitter. It almost a little bit reminds me of Referral Nails Tiara. It's kind of like a gold with multicolor glitters in there. So when you're looking at it, you can kind of see like green and purple and pink, and it's really pretty. I'll use that one again for sure. And then after, I found that with the top coat, for this top coat, it didn't take a super long time to dry, so that was nice. About 2 minutes later, I was ready to go in with my cuticle oil. So I like that, you know, it dried quickly, so that's always nice. And I do try to get my free edge as well, because I do use peel base, so that just kind of makes sure that everything is sealed in and they won't pop off before I want them to. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll go in with cuticle oil. So I'm back with my Candi Skin Care. And when you're using the dip powder, your e-files, your regular files, alcohol and everything like that, my skin tends to get very dry, so if you're finding that as well, it's always a good idea to go in with cuticle oil or even lotion if that's what you have on hand, just anything to kind of nourish your skin and your nails again after all of those chemicals and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and rub that all in. I was pleased, like I said, with the liquids. I want to try it again though, so I'll probably pick out a couple of other colors and do another mani with all of the Modelones products again at some point in the future. And then the second part of the subscriber request as well was to try out Virgo and Gem, so that'll be coming up in the future as well. But let me know what you think, like and subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, bye for now.